Hello, world changers. So glad to have you back again today. If you remember, the last part we left off in our book, Kingdom Keepers, was that Maleficent actually found all of the boys and girls except Maybeck. Maybeck left early for some reason, and we're not quite sure why. And Maleficent turned into an eel and was squeezing the life out of Finn. But Philby came by with the other two girls and a riverboat, and they ended up saving Finn. So that is where we are. We're going to start on chapter 21. I love this story. Chapter 21. Back in the real world. Amanda stayed in the lead of her bike. Thankfully, she hadn't asked any questions, and he took this as a sign that they were becoming really good friends. He told her only that he'd have to see Jelly, and that they were welcome to come along if she wanted. They locked their bikes beneath a sign that read, "Crazy Glaze." "You're awfully quiet today," she said. "Yeah," was all Finn could think of to say. "You want me to keep her busy while you check around back? Is that it?" He nodded. Amanda entered the store, glancing back at Finn with a worried expression. Finn found two fire escapes out back, made of slatted iron, servicing several doors. Finn heard Jelly's distinctive voice through an open window. Then he followed by Amanda asking for Terry. "Terry's not feeling well today," Jelly said. "I brought him some homework," Amanda said. It was a white lie, because in fact, she and Finn went to a different school than Maybeck, but she needed a reason to see him. "That's sweet of you, girl. I'll be sure to pass it along." Amanda said, "Is it the flu?" "Not exactly the flu," Jelly answered. "You want to leave him homework, that'll be fine. Right now, I've got a job to do." "Can I help you?" Amanda offered. "Can I fill in for Terry if he's not feeling well?" "Well, Terry's asleep upstairs." "Thank you for offering, though." "That'd be very good, Amanda. I'm happy to pay you, though I can't pay that much." Finn climbed up the fire escape. The rail was hot to the touch. If caught, Finn wasn't sure what excuse he'd use, but he'd have to think of something. At the first landing, there was a normal-looking door. Finn knocked gently. Nothing. Then he tried the doorknob. It turned, but he didn't dare open it. This was just plain wrong, and he couldn't bring himself to do it. Then the obvious hit him, the other landing below the adjacent windows. If he couldn't make the jump, Finn climbed over the rail of the landing, hung on, and jumped. His fingers hooked around the railing. He hung on for dear life, pulled himself over, and collapsed below the first window. He got to his feet and peered in. He saw a television room with some very nice pottery scattered around. The next window, considerably smaller, was covered on the inside by a thick curtain, and maybe a bathroom. Finn moved to the third window and peered inside. Maybeck. That is the person that left them behind last night. He was asleep in bed, with the shade up and the lights on. Finn noted, rolled over with his back to Finn. He had on the same shirt he'd been wearing the night before. Next to the bed, on a side table, Finn noticed a thermometer bulb down in the glass of water, a face cloth folded into a strip 3 inches wide, and a copy of the Bible. Finn knocked gently on the glass. Maybeck didn't stir. Finn tried again, a little louder. Maybeck didn't budge. If Finn knocked any harder, he thought he'd break the glass. Instead, he tested the window. It opened up just a crack. Again, excuse me. He faced going inside uninvited. He couldn't bring himself to do it, but he did slide the window up and stick his head through. "Maybeck!" he whispered harshly. "Maybeck, wake up!" "Finn!" It was Amanda's voice, behind and below him. Finn bumped his head on the window frame as he turned to look at her. "Jelly's coming up there!" Amanda warned frantically. "She heard you!" Finn ducked out the bedroom door. He could hear Jelly coming up the stairs. The footsteps were close now. Finn slid Maybeck's window shut, ducked, and hurried to the railing. He climbed over, paused, and jumped. For a fraction of a second, it seemed like he misjudged the distance, and he would fall, crashing in a pile of broken bones right in front of Amanda. But he made it. He climbed over the railing and hurried down to the ground level. "Finn? Finn Whitman?" Jelly hollered up from the upstairs balcony. "What are you doing here?" "Hello, Jelly," Finn called it. "You're sneaking around back here?" "No, ma'am," because that's what it looks like. "I need to talk to Terry," Finn confessed. "It's important." "You can't. Terry's sick. He's not well." "Sick or asleep? He won't wake up, will he?" Amanda snapped her head in Finn's direction. Jelly said, "You stay right where you are, young man." Jelly took her time. Listen, she said, emerging through the back door. This is not something I want to be going around school. You understand? She met eyes with him both. Terry's got some kind of sleeping sickness. Finn gasped. We can't wake him up. He's not got a fever, not been bitten by anything, no sweats or shakes. She took a long look up at Maybeck's bedroom window. Doctor says to let him be one more night. Tomorrow he goes to the hospital and they start doing tests. But I'm saying my prayers. Nothing seems wrong with him. Doctor says he's fine in all the important ways. He's stuck asleep? Amanda said. That's a funny way to put it, Jelly said. But yes. Finn wanted to kick Amanda, but she didn't know what she'd said. He had told her nothing about the night before. Maybeck was still crossed over. Finn struggled to figure out what that meant. Can't wake him up, Finn blurted out. That's right, Jelly said. Finn considered carefully before he spoke. Listen, I don't expect you to believe me or anything, but Terry's condition, it has something to do with him being a DHI, a Disney host, like I am. She studied him thoughtfully but did not interrupt. I think I can help him. Maybe. Help him wake up. Is this some kind of joke? Because it's in poor taste, young man. Terry is extremely ill. Then, Amanda said, what's going on? Before he went to bed last night, maybe even yesterday afternoon, did Terry get a phone call? Jelly took another step toward him. What's with you, boy? She was not pleased. She looked to be on the verge of tears. He did, didn't he? And I'll bet he came away from that call excited, didn't he? Because it was from a girl, wasn't it? Her, Jelly said, pointing at Amanda, not realizing she just confirmed what was right. No, Finn said softly, not her. Thoughts crowded her head. Please don't take him to the hospital until you hear from me tomorrow. I'm supposed to trust my Terry to a 13-year-old boy? Jelly said, incredulous. 14, ma'am. Finn said, I'm 14 next month. Chapter 22. Back riding their bikes, Finn and Amanda pedaled side by side on the sidewalk, slipping into single file whenever they passed a pedestrian. The afternoon slid toward evening, the sun dragging lower in the sky, the first haze of twilight upon them. Finn felt his whole world dimming. He's not asleep, is he, Finn? She asked. I don't think so. Then what? He's trapped over there, Finn said. What's that mean? It means we left him. We shouldn't have. And now he's stuck back there. On that side. He's asleep. Over there, he's still a DHI. Who knows what's happening to him? You think he's been caught or something? I hope not, Finn answered. But this is nothing but bad. Real bad. Finn felt a cool wind on his back. He craned over his shoulder to look. Though Finn said nothing, Amanda, riding along with him, said, I feel it too. Check out your handlebars. Finn touched his handlebars. Ice, cold. His fingers left small patches of vapor behind as he removed them. Just like the car wash, she said. Finn didn't need to be told what the sudden chill meant. He scoured the immediate area for any sign of Maleficent, the witch. He saw only black cars, storefronts, and power lines. Black cars, red cars, blue cars, and white, small cars, big cars, dull cars, and bright. Where did that come from? Where were they going? Some cars were driving, some cars were towing. Do you ever think in rhymes, he asked her, wondering where he had come up with that from. She glanced over at him, gravely concerned. What? He said. You're thinking in rhymes? So what? She answered. It's one of the signs. It's something. She caught herself, her voice trailed off. What sign? She allowed her bike to fall behind him so far that he couldn't see her. So Finn slowed as well. And they dueled this way, Amanda slowing, Finn slowing to join her, until they had to come to a stop. What do you know about this? He asked, feeling agitated and impatient. It's a sign of what? To their right was a community center, and adjoining it was an enormous skate park with a half pipe, a full pipe, jumps, and 4 tubs. A landscape of smooth concrete basins, like empty swimming pools, interconnected by ramps and tunnels. There were a dozen kids practicing stunts. Amanda said meekly, rhyming it's one of the signs of witches. With that, she rose up onto her pedals and zoomed off, turning into the skateboard park. The park was full of skaters, full of concrete alligators. Kids in hordes riding boards. Sun was sinking, growing later. Finn shook his head violently side to side, trying to clear his thought and push away the rhymes. What had he just said? He couldn't even remember. All he could hear were rhymes. One thought found its way through. Amanda knows something she wasn't telling him. Finn raced to catch her. This is weird, like a man with a beard. Green skin and pig eyes, frog legs and fireflies. A dark cave and loud cries. A girl with tears in her eyes. Finn caught up to Amanda. Amanda's eyes were red. She'd either been crying or affected by the speed of her writing. Amanda, I can't tell you, she said. A motorized minibike zoomed noisily around the corner and dropped into the skate park. The rider was thin and wore a black leather top and pants and a black helmet with a silver mirrored visor that hid the face. The minibike came straight at them, showing no signs of slowing. On the contrary, it was on a collision course. Amanda rose up onto her pedals and dropped her bike into the first concrete bathtub. Finn followed her. They climbed the opposing wall and flew up, airborne. The minibike followed. Finn rose from his seat, bounced the bike in the air, tipped forward, and dove into the next big concrete basin. Amanda dropped into the half pipe to the left. Separated like this, the minibike driver had to choose. It came at Finn. The other boarders and bikers stopped what they were doing and watched the contest. Amanda flew down the steep wall of the half pipe, picking up speed and launching into a high jump. Finn, parallel with her now, yanked his front wheels in midair and changed direction upon landing. He joined her, following inside the full pipe. As the minibike entered the full pipe, Finn found the screeching whine of its motor deafening. As the minibike out the end of the pipe, riding together now, Finn and Amanda raced to the bottom of the third tub, pushed down by their seats by centrifugal force. As they reached up the opposing side, they lifted, tipped their weight in unison, and reversed their bikes. Aimed back down toward the big basin, the minibike whirled toward them. Amanda bravely reached out with her left arm and grabbed Finn by the forearm. Finn returned the grip. You ready for this? She said. On 3, Finn said. They released their brakes on the count of 3, zooming toward the oncoming minibike, their arms extended and ready to clothesline the rider. The bikes flew down. The minibike wound its way toward them. Amanda and Finn screamed in unison. At the last possible second, the rider dumped the minibike in a flurry of sparks, slipping under their collapsed arms and between the two bikes. The few onlookers let out a wild cheer. Amanda and Finn stopped at the top of the basin and looked back. The driver, lying next to the minibike, appeared okay. He, she, it stood up, brushed off, and gestured toward the two. Finn felt a pulse of cold fill him. A very familiar cold. Amanda shouted something that sounded like a foreign language. She crossed her arm and then threw them forward toward the rider. The leather-clad rider was lifted from the ground and thrown to the concrete. Ride, Amanda hollered at Finn. Ride and don't look back. Finn pedaled off, wondering if he'd just seen Amanda do that. Who are you? He shouted as their bikes reached the street. We've got to split up, she said. With that, she pedaled furiously away from him. At dinner that night, chapter 23, Finn brooded at the table, unable to take his mind off recent events. Maybeck's sleeping sickness, Amanda's mysteries, the letters they found secretly hidden at both It's a Small World and Splash Mountain. Watching him, his mother wore a look of curiosity, while his father, in typical fashion, ate quietly. Finn stabbed at his foot and moved it around on his plate, hoping it might appear eaten. How was school today? His mother asked. Every night, the same question. Next would come, did you do anything fun today? What are you up to with your friends? I don't know, Finn said honestly. It's all right, I suppose. You can do better than that, his father said. His father always thought Finn could do better at anything. He seemed always to be writing Finn about his grades or his performance on the soccer field. He talked about college scholarships like they were some kind of religion. I'm good, Finn said, pushing back his plate. May I be excused? Another part of the secret code. He had no chance of leaving the table without these passwords. No snacks later, sweetheart. This is dinner. I know, Finn said. He stood up from the table and grabbed his plate. Suddenly, his head went all rubbery. as if all the blood was draining out of him at once. He thought he might pass out. Finn, his mother's voice, but it was in the next country. Then there was his painted mouth moving above him. His voice sounded detached and several octaves lower than normal, like a tape playing at half speed. She rushed to his side. The lights in the room dimmed. A power failure? He saw his father, chewed food in his open mouth, looking scared. Finn, dear, his mother said. I'm fine, he replied. His mother hovered over to him. He felt his parents taking him under his arms and leading him upstairs. Finn's feet flapped and dragged. He felt useless. They led him toward his bed. No, I don't want to go to sleep. But his eyes felt so heavy. He closed his eyes, and it happened again. And that is where we're going to stop for today. Thank you again for joining me. Remember, the world is a better place because you are in it. I love reading to all you guys. Hope to see you guys tomorrow. Bye, everybody.